Alright, so there are three types of support. The first one being the heal and shield type. This is a basic category where the main work of this role is to heal or shield your ally depending on the champion that you are using, and also assisting your ally in terms of crowd control abilities such as rooting your enemy, silencing them, stunning them, and more abilities and all. The basic types of these supports are the basic roles, if you want to ask, is to assist your allies, not to deal any damage, but to providing them with assist, like I said, a heal or a shield, and also debuffing your enemy by slowing them and all. This is considered a basic role, as we already said before, and also the most common roles. And also don't forget that this is a backliners, which means they are not meant for front lines, they're mainly meant for backlines. So what you got to do is you have to assist your ADC with heals or shields while they engages, and in doing so you have to make sure that you don't go in front line, because if you step onto front lines you will die instantly. They are also one of the most complicated systems to work on, the most complicated champions if you want to see, because they are not very tanky, because they can't take much damage. They are only meant to assist them, not take the damage, because there's a whole new class for that which we will talk about later in this video. But for now, I think, yeah, just watch on the video and you will learn how to use them. And don't forget that some of these supports comes with OP abilities such as healing an entire team or shielding an entire team, buffing an ally like to a broken level such as Lulu's ultimate, which is very OP if you ask me when it combined with other ADCs, and also Rakan's skills, which is kind of an OP. He's one of the most crucial support that you see in the game, because his skills makes him that much, and also one of the most hardest support to master. Because, and also remember, he's not a frontliner, he's a backliner, and he ambushes the enemy with his abilities. So if you play Rakan as a frontliner, means you will lose, while with other guys it's depending on their skills. If their skills are meant for a range, which means you have to stay in the back lines and just assist your allies as much as possible. If you go in front lines, you die. Now moving on to the second category, which is, I believe, one of the most hardest one and least picked ones, the damage dealing support. Their role is not to assist the ally but to kill the enemies before they can harm your ally. This might sound a little bit crazy, but their skills are not meant to protect but to deal damage. Not a lot of burst damage, but enough damage for our ally to slay the enemy before your enemy can slay your ally. This also means that you're leaving your ally in a vulnerable position where you can no longer offer them a good shield or heal abilities as the first steps, because their skills are mainly meant for damage dealing. But there's also an advantage where you don't have to worry about lack of damage, because if you're having an ADC they can also deal damage, and so is you, so that can put your enemy to think twice before engaging you. This also makes them very useful to anti-dive kind of supports. If you have a jungler that is prone to jungle, if you want jungler, what can I say, avoid ganks from a jungler, I think this support suits for you, as they can shield and not as they can deal damage and also root the enemies as much as they can, as you can see in this video. There are two types that falls under this category, two champions that falls under this category that are very good, the one being the Seraphine and then other one being the Lux. Their role is mainly to deal damage, and in some cases their shields are also okay-ish, but not so much or not so very OP like the first category. So it highly depends on how we want the gameplay. If you have a tank baron laner or a tank jungler, then you can go with this support, but you're also having a risk putting your ally, because if they are not careful then they might end up dying very soon. So if you want to play this role, which is the damage dealers, you have to play very carefully. So please keep that in mind before you pick this type. And one more thing that I forgot, they're also one of the most squishiest ones, which means you constantly have to deal damage to your enemies, also keeping check on your HP too. So if you miss that, you also risk losing the match. So careful with that. I think that's enough for this kind. Now moving on to the third and the final kind of support, which is the most important and meta and currently in meta in this game, the tanks. These are one of the most complicated roles, hard to master but also very effective compared to the other two categories. Their main role is, as you might have already guessed, is to take damage for your team. They are the frontliners, like the spearheads of your team. They engage in a battle first and they absorb all damage from the enemy team, and also they can stun their enemies with their abilities, and they also have a lot of utilities. Some comes with passive healing or shield abilities that can protect your allies. But keep in mind that this is as I said before, and one of the hardest roles, because you're literally diving into your enemy team, which means they will all attack you. If your allies don't assist you, means you'll just die anyway. And this is also hard to master because of the skill compositions and all. You need a lot of practice before you can master them, and they're it's pretty worth it, because they definitely guarantee you a victory in the game if you play them well. There are two tanks that are very, how can I say, currently in meta in this game, Alistar and Braum. I cannot name them because they are in the meta, but unfortunately I can't include Blitzcrank as he's been nerfed pretty bad this past few months of patches. So since his nerf, he's been least pegged and also not very effective in team fights. He can't even absorb much damage and all. There's also another alternative option, which is Malphite, but then again he's not most of a damage absorbing guy, but a damage dealing support. I think you can call him a tank damage dealer or something like that, but it goes under the way like that. So yeah, that's it, I guess. The three types of supports: the healers, the heal and shielders; the second type, the damage dealers who kills your enemy before they can touch your ally; and then the final, the tanks, which is the most important ones of all. Now, there actually depends on how your teammates composition works. If your teammate lacks tanks, then you should better go with the tanks. If your teammate has more tanks, such as a jungler is a tanky and barrel is a tanky, then you can consider going as the first or second category depending on your team. If your team has a lot of utility abilities, then consider going for the damage dealing supports. If your team lacks utility, then consider going for the first category of support, as they might come in handy literally every single game. And thank you guys for watching. I humbly apologize for my voice recordings, as this was not how can I say, I was in a very busy time to record this video. So if you guys found any discomfort during this video, I apologize for this. Thank you very much for watching. Have a nice day.